What does it mean to be authentic? Are you authentic? Are you able to be yourself in most situations where you express yourself authentically with family, friends, co-workers, absolute strangers? Are you confident at being who you are? Or do you wear a mask? Do you have one mask, two masks, three masks? Do you wear a mask for home, a mask for work, a mask for school, a mask for boss man at the kebabi at 3 in the morning? Do you find yourself constantly shifting between them, shifting between different personas? Does it not leave you feeling so socially drained by the end of the day? It certainly did for me. Being authentic is something I've struggled with for quite a while now. And through a recent conversation with myself, I've come to a realization about what it truly means to be authentic. And understanding what it means to be truly authentic is a huge topic. You can go on YouTube and Google and find hundreds of videos from people across all different walks of life, sharing their understanding of what it means to be truly authentic. And so out of all of those videos, if you have found your way to this one, I massively and sincerely thank you and ask if you consider dropping a like and subscribe if you find this video to be helpful. That small consideration does truly go a long way for me and massively helps me out. Thanks. So back to the realization. What was this realization? Well, I believe that authenticity is the key to life. Once you allow yourself to be yourself, everything else just comes naturally. Discovering what makes you tick, what you enjoy, what you dislike, figuring out what percentage of yourself you want to share at any given moment, and being comfortable and confident in that. Once you discover these authentic elements to yourself, you'll find your life will naturally begin to mold around these elements. Your self-improvement journey becomes one that you can truly connect to, because no longer are you watching some bearded, muscular guy waking up at 4:30 in the morning, riding a unicorn into battle and killing 3 red dragons, all before his morning cup of joe and pancakes, telling you you need to copy this exact formula if you wish to be successful too. No. Now, whilst there is no doubt that a successful person's morning routine works, it works for them, but they aren't you. And elements of what they do might not work for you. Discovering yourself means you can watch all these different tips and tricks from people who have figured this shit out and take and adapt those things to you. Make what you introduce into your life have real meaning, validity, and connection. Now, if you have been watching my videos or you're new to the channel and you've noticed the large time gap between my last video and this one, I could blame life. I could take the easy route and say, life chaotic, for why there is such a large time gap. But that's no good to anyone. And the real reason for such a time gap is actually it's due to fear. More specifically, it's due to fear of being authentic. I fear that if I post these videos and promote them, advertise them, that somehow people from my past will see these videos, see me trying to leave the mental box, the mental prison that I had put myself in, that I had thought they also contributed to putting me in, and would see these videos and would come back and would force me back into that box that I am so trying to escape. So very recently, I reached out to an old schoolmate.
Nah, he's a great guy.
Do me a favor, which was to tell me what he thought my healthy and unhealthy, good and bad traits were. And I asked this because I was doing a particular piece of self-work and I was looking to get a outside perspective to help me get a kind of objective middle ground perspective of who I was and how I was presenting. And he came back and he said that one of the positives was that even after we hadn't seen or spoken to each other for a long period of time, when we do finally connect again, that same bond, that same connection remains untouched. Because even though we've both grown and matured in our lives, that essence of who we are remains the same. And hearing that got me thinking back to how when I was a kid in my really early days, and how my personality was really quite adventurous. I was colourful, I was very cheerful, and I was a little bit chaotic. I was actually a wee bit more chaotic. I actually got kicked out of Tumble Tots. That's how much of a badass I was. And you know what? I was a somewhat carefree individual. I grew and got older through unfortunate family circumstances, through the crap I had to endure both at primary school, secondary school, and through sixth form, through the mental breakdown I had to endure during university. All of this stuff was, here's my essence, and all of this crap was just piling on top and pushing it further and further down. And these negative self-images that piled on top of what this true essence was, at the end of the day, through all of that, through all of these 27 years of life, at the end of the day, my essence and what separates me from you, me from everyone else, and what separates you from everyone else with your own unique essence has remained true. That through all of this stuff, at the end of the day, I hesitate to call it a soul, but my soul has remained the same, and it's that essence that allows for this strong bond to exist throughout space and time. Cool, well, that sounds great. What's the problem? Your essence is still the same. You have these fantastic strong bonds. What's the problem with being authentic? Let me tell you. So the problem for me these past almost 10 years is that I've been living with this trauma that has been born from rejection, and quite severe rejection in my case, or in my mental image. And this trauma is something I've never really given the attention that it deserved. Moving into sixth form, I had kind of almost a dual personality, if you will. I had my performer where I would create and don whichever mask fit whichever social environment I was in. And then I had my inner self, a self that fucking hated itself, yet had this really weird undying belief that I really was more than what I believed and what I thought everyone else thought of me. So come sixth form, I essentially had hyped it up in my mind that this was my time to shine, my time to allow this kind of undying belief to take center stage and for my true nature to actualize. And on actualization, everyone would see me different and life would finally be great.
We could be that mistake.
But you can probably guess by now that obviously was not the case. And instead of actualizing this true inner self, this inner essence, instead I got made into a punching bag by my group of mates. I got excluded from all of their parties, and I really got drowned out by the explosion of size of our friend group. It was really about 5 members of us, and then sixth form started and so many new people joined. It was very chaotic for me. However, thankfully, after years of perfecting the practice,
Oh God, it's so good. So good.
I had all my masks to keep me smiling throughout this ordeal. But inside I was really just so broken. What I thought I could actualize into reality and have confirmed by others, therefore making this actualized nature valid, got absolutely denied, and therefore indirectly confirming to me all of the horrible things that I thought about myself to be true. And that for me was like having all of these horrible self-images officially stamped. The next few years of uni were interesting. I had the opportunity of being in a brand new environment, brand new people who didn't know me and wouldn't have this negative opinion of me. I could start afresh and again actualize this inner nature. Instead, unbeknownst to me, my new issue was that my view of what my inner nature was and could be had now been warped. Instead of being an expression of true self, it instead became about shaping a persona that I thought would have gained the approval of those who rejected me in sixth form. It's twisted, I know, but after living for so long with undiagnosed mental health issues, everything just seemed to further accelerate me down this train track towards the end of the line. Now, the problem with trying to form a persona that would be accepted by people no longer in my life is exactly that they are no longer in my life. There's no way to measure if the front I was putting on would ever live up to their standards. And all I had to go off was my mental understanding, which was very twisted, and my memories. I was seeking an impossible external validation. The ones who had officially stamped in my mind that this negative self-image was the true representation of me were the only ones to me that could overrule this decision and officially stamp a new accepted persona and give me the permission to be someone else, be someone different. So to some degree throughout uni, I was living a lie. I felt hollow and fake, which in turn helped me to make some very bad decisions and treat some people in my life extremely poorly because of my crippling insecurities. Now, eventually this speeding downward train track did eventually come to an end in the form of a mental breakdown and an ordeal that literally saw my reality be torn to fucking pieces. I honestly had no idea what was real and what was false. I didn't know who I was, as I saw myself as just a collection of masks that I had made, mirrored off those around me who I had admired and were designed to keep me safe and hidden.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
And it was a fucking slog. And still these past few years after mending and working on myself again, there was this hollow element to it all. Like, yes, 100% I am definitely presenting myself a lot more honestly than before. But this unhealed trauma from sixth form was still subconsciously guiding me in some way until I reached out to my best friend from school and I spoke to him about my thoughts. Oh, and quick side piece from me and my boy Score Bunny here. I cannot emphasize how powerful it is to just verbally let your thoughts out to someone who won't offer opinions, won't give judgment on the matter that you are speaking about, but will just be there to listen. It is one of the most powerful healing remedies that you can do on your own. And he said that one specific positive that, after so much time we can come back and things are still the same. Did that realization really hit me? I was never going to get their permission to view myself as something other than the fucking atrocious self-view I had. And I never fucking needed it. Through all that shit, my inner essence, my true nature, my authenticity has remained true so much that a friend who truly saw me and stuck by me, we can reconnect in an instant after however long apart. And that's the point I want to make here. And I really, really need you to listen here. Put down whatever you're doing and just in these next few moments, just really listen to these words, because they are important. The only permission you need to be yourself is from yourself. No one else can give this to you but you. But the reason we don't allow ourselves to give ourselves this permission, and why we choose to suppress ourselves and wear these masks, is because we're scared of being rejected. We'd so much rather give into the social anxiety and go with the flow, become people pleasers and yes men and women. And you're not subconsciously wrong for doing this. Fear of rejection is an inbuilt fear we inherited from our ancestors. Back in hunter days, getting rejected from our troop, that almost pretty much meant death. In our modern society, being rejected from a group no longer carries the same physical threat of actual death. You might mentally struggle with being alone, yes, sure, but you're not going to die from it in the same way that we would have done in the past. But unfortunately, our modern society, we have been conditioned to think that all humans are meant to be in our personal troop. And this is a topic spoken about in the book, The Chimp Paradox. And so we must please everybody. We must be liked by everybody, which I can tell you is such a corrosive mindset to be in. There is over 8 billion people on this planet, each with their own unique personalities, values, and how the hell are you going to be liked by every single one of them? It's impossible, and it's absolutely ridiculous to ever try to attempt that. So going back to our title question, what does it mean to be authentic? Being authentic means that you accept and expect to be rejected. In fact, you actively seek it out because we want to filter through all the people who would see us for ourselves and think, yeah, no, that's not for me. Until we finally find those who see us for ourselves and think, oi, oi, who's this sick cunt? We want to find those who would fit our troop, those who would actively encourage us to be better and want us to succeed. Those who provide meaning and value to our lives and who would greatly benefit from the meaning and value we would provide to their lives. Your troop should consist of members who acknowledge you for being you. And you should feel safe and comfortable at being relaxed around them. No need to impress or please, but safe in the fact that these are your mates and they have your back just as much as you have theirs. Being authentic means having the confidence to be yourself, knowing you will be rejected for it, but understanding that those few who truly do bond with you will be bonds for life. Being authentic means you will remain true to yourself when being sneered and judged unnecessarily. And you have the courage to laugh along with them at yourself because you know that they don't know you and they don't need to. So their opinion doesn't matter. And once you realize this, then do you truly gain permission to be happy, to be fulfilled, to engage with life in the way that you want to, and to enjoy and share that with the select few who you have decided to let into your life. And doesn't that just sound like an absolutely beautiful way to spend your life? Keep it real. Mwah.